In this video I'm going to go over the Fischer Sicilian chess trap. This trap is played in the accelerated dragon variation and was discovered in 1958 at the US Chess Championship by Grandmaster Bobby Fischer. He used it very successfully to win a game against Grandmaster Samuel Reshevsky. Let's go ahead and take a look at this game and see what this trap is all about. Fischer starts off with e4, Reshevsky responds c5, signaling the Sicilian Defence. Knight captures on d4, g6. All of these moves have been played many times before. And here we see bishop out to c4, very natural move. Reshevsky castles, which is considered to be a strong move in this position. And then we see bishop out to b3. And this is baiting black a little bit. He would like to trade off his knight for the bishop. That would strategically be a very dynamic move. It would be very good because this bishop does put a lot of pressure on black's king side and is often used to attack black in these types of positions. So it does make a lot of sense to trade off this knight for the bishop. When the bishop was on c4, if knight a5, then the bishop has more space to run too. But when it's on b3, it can't really run anywhere. So the knight could trade itself for the bishop. However, this is a trap, and it does not work out tactically. There is one key idea here. That because the knight has moved to a5, it is no longer controlling the e5 square. So Fischer plays e5 and is actually completely winning here. Black tried knight to e8 in the game. Another possibility, which is recommended by the computer, is knight takes b3. That is thought to be the best move here, but is also completely losing. And we will look at that in more detail in a moment. We'll look at what happened in the actual game. After knight e8, bishop takes f7, king captures back, knight e6, and suddenly black's queen is trapped and has nowhere to run to. Pawn captured in the game, and then white won black's queen and later went on to win the game. We're not going to look at the rest of the game because in this position it is obvious that white is completely winning. He has two rooks for two rooks, two minor pieces for two minor pieces, and then has a queen versus two minor pieces and is therefore up material. Let's look at what happens here if the king were to take. Then there would be a forced checkmate, queen d5 check, check, bringing the rook into the game with check, bishop to g5 check, and no matter where the king goes, if it goes to h3, that's checkmate in 1. If it goes to h5, it lasts just one more move and is quickly checkmated as well. So that would not be a good outcome either. Let's go ahead and back up. Alright, we just looked at the knight to e8 variation. Knight captures bishop on b3 is another possibility. It's actually recommended by the computer. So let's go ahead and take a look at this. After these series of exchanges, we find out that white has two knights versus a rook and two pawns. So materially speaking, black is actually up by a pawn here. But white has this great amount of development and is able to use that to win the game. So here we see queen d2, threatening bishop h6, picking up the rook, king moves back, knight f3, again threatening d5, and because white's attack keeps coming, black doesn't really have enough time to complete his development. So we've seen an attack like this, knight e5 going after f7, trying to create some weaknesses. If bishop d7, then white will simply capture that, knight e4, threatening to fork the king, queen, and rook. So the king would move, and then queen f4, threatening checkmate, and a couple of moves. So that must be defended against. Let's say maybe queen to e7, then there could be this check. f6 must be played, knight takes f6, attacking the rook, and no matter where the rook moves, there is always going to be this discovered check. White is completely winning here. If the rook moves maybe to d8, for instance, then there is this check picking up the queen. So black is in a huge amount of trouble here, completely losing. White's attack just comes so fast he doesn't even have time to get his other rook into the game. So that's why the other variation would not have worked either. This is the Bobby